Stephen faced scorn from Kim's family but boldly declared he'd give her the world, secretly starting with the Moon of the Nile. As Kim's cousin Zoe and her wealthy husband Henry arrived, their condescending remarks only fueled Stephen's determination to prove his worth and fulfill his grand promise. Stephen shot Henry a glare, but he didn't say anything. It was obvious that Henry was trying to make himself look better by offering him a job out of pity. Kim quickly changed the topic to prevent them from criticizing Stephen further. "Did you guys plan out what to do in the city?" "Yes, we're planning to visit the fancy villas today. Henry knows the owner of the villa at the top," Zoe said complacently. Everyone in the city was aware that only wealthy families could afford to live at the villas at the highest point in the city. Having the opportunity to visit was already a great honor. Stephen frowned upon hearing this. "Want to visit my house? Did they get my permission?" Zoe beamed with pride as she held Henry's arms. "Why don't we go together? This is a rare opportunity. Ordinary people would never be able to visit those villas. If it weren't for Henry, we would never have the chance." Kim agreed in a hurry. "Sounds like a great idea. I've been wanting to visit for a long time." Ever since Kim was a little girl, she'd always dreamed of living in one of those luxurious villas. There was no way she'd miss the chance of seeing the villas up close. Stephen didn't object. He would just consider their visit as an opportunity for him to familiarize himself with the properties under his name. Before long, the four of them arrived to the gate leading to the villas. A middle-aged man was pacing impatiently at the entrance. Henry stepped out of the car. "Wait for me here. I'll head over and say hello to the property manager. Even though we'll be visiting with 2 more people, it shouldn't be a problem because I'm here." After Henry closed the door, Zoe turned to Stephen. "Did you see that? This is called networking. My husband is successful and he has friends everywhere. A lazy person like you will never match up to him." Stephen shrugged. Networking? Not interested. He was the Grand Palace Master, and his palace controlled more than half of the world's wealth and influence. The most powerful people in the city would try to win his favor if they ever met with him. What other connections did he need? Zoe let out a sigh. "You're hopeless." Zoe couldn't be bothered to lecture Stephen again. To her, he was like mud on a rainy day. Stephen looked at the villas beyond the gate. "Oh right, Kim, when we visit, let me know if there's anything you don't like. I'll ask someone to change it." Kim pretended like she didn't hear him. What did he mean by asking someone to change it? Did he think he was the owner of the villas or something? Zoe shook her head. Disdain was written all over her face. Henry returned a few minutes later, and the 4 of them made their way past the gate and towards the villas. "Follow me closely. Don't go anywhere on your own. Every flower is expensive, and you won't be able to afford a single one if you damage it." Kim and Zoe nodded seriously. As for Stephen, he didn't care for Henry's warning. He was wandering in his own home. Why did he have to be careful? The 4 of them came across a beautiful garden. "This place is amazing. Flowers and birds are everywhere. It's like a scene straight out of a fairy tale," Zoe exclaimed. Kim looked around in wonder. From the carvings to the plants, everything is a work of art. It's mesmerizing. Zoe was excited, but she didn't forget to show off. "It's all thanks to my darling. Otherwise, you would have never been able to visit. That's why having connections are important." Henry was feeling smug because of all the compliments. Stephen ignored the materialistic couple in front of him and looked at Kim lovingly. She was so happy, even though they were just visiting. Would she be overjoyed when he told her that he'd bought these villas for her? "How do you like the environment?" Stephen asked. "I love it." Kim smiled, and with the garden as her backdrop, she looked like a fairy in a painting. Stephen was bedazzled by her beauty. Henry's gaze was also fixed on Kim, although the look in his eyes was filled with lust. He didn't know how a good-for-nothing man like Stephen could marry an amazing woman like Kim. When Henry looked back at Stephen, he almost gasped in horror. Stephen was stepping on the grass. "Stephen, what do you think you're doing? Didn't you hear what I said? You can't damage anything while you're here. Are you trying to ruin our lives by stepping on the grass?" Henry scanned their surroundings to make sure that no one was around. He was on the verge of exploding with anger. If Stephen damaged even a single patch of grass, he and Kim wouldn't be able to compensate the property owners, even if they sold everything they had. This meant that the responsibility would fall on the shoulders of whoever invited him here. Zoe put her hand on her hips. Kim, hurry up and talk some sense into this useless husband of yours. Stephen, if you don't step away from the garden, I'll call the security guards to throw you out. Stephen was amused by Zoe's threat. You want to throw me out? Was stepping on the grass in his own home that big of a deal? He wanted to see who would be daring enough to touch even a single strand of hair on his head. That's right. Did you forget we're only here because of my darling? There was more that Stephen wanted to say, but he decided not to when he saw the smile disappear from Kim's face. He walked away from the garden and caught up with them. Not too long after, they arrived at one of the villas at the bottom level. Henry informed them of the layout. The villas were built on a slope. There are 4 villas on each level, with the exception of the most expensive villa at the top. There are rumors that a powerful person lives there. With my connections, this is as far as we can go. Before going inside, I have to remind you all not to talk carelessly or touch anything. Especially you, Stephen. If you want to ruin your life, go ahead, but leave the rest of us out of your mess. Stephen crossed his arms. If you're as capable as you say you are, did you know that someone recently purchased all of these villas? Zoe's jaw dropped. Someone bought all of them? But that would mean they spent an enormous amount of money, right? Kim was also surprised. She didn't know about this. Where did Stephen hear about this mysterious purchase? Henry didn't believe him. Don't spread rumors. No one with a brain would believe your nonsense. Each villa is worth at least 100 million. Who in this city would have the money to buy all of them? Listen, Stephen, if you want to be successful, you have to be mindful of your reputation as an honest... While Henry was talking, he subconsciously leaned towards the table. His shoulder brushed against a large porcelain vase. It teetered on the edge before toppling over and shattering to pieces on the floor. That wasn't the end. The other porcelain vases fell off the table, one by one like dominoes. Henry paled as he watched the horrific scene unfold before him. Zoe was so scared that her voice shook. Those shouldn't be worth that much, right? Henry swallowed nervously. I don't think so. But he didn't sound too sure. As Henry saw expensive vases shatter, will the fallout reveal more about Stephen's hidden assets or expose Henry's deceit?
Hi, I'm Stephen.
Want to know my secrets?
Then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Secret Succession now.